Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 25 with the Charlotte Silverwolves. Excuse me. Mm. Wow. Okay, done. In our previous episode, we completed another off season, and it's our first one without the DH. Not looking forward to this, but we'll make it maybe. Not a lot has changed, to be perfectly honest with you. Jordan Beck was somebody that we paid a little bit of cash for to hopefully stabilize first base for us. It's possible. Colt Long is back for his third season. His first as a starter. Maybe he'll be okay. Maybe he won't. Giovanni Rodriguez wants all of the money and hasn't gotten it yet, so that's going to be kind of painful. And the top of our lineup is still pretty good. Chris Thomason concerns me. And I think more than any other hitter in this lineup, how successful we are is going to depend on Chris Thomason. I'm not saying he's an excellent player. He's an excellent player no matter how you slice it. But megastar Chris Thomason versus useful player Chris Thomason are two very different discussions. And I don't know how I feel about his wild jumps from year to year in terms of his capabilities, but it's fine. This is a almost surprisingly shallow team, and it is my number one concern that something awful happens to one of my big stars. Because while I've got a bunch of players that all vary from acceptable to meh, I don't have a lot of depth. I don't have a lot of players in the high minors that are ready for their chance to perform at a high level. Alejandro Rivera is one of those rare exceptions. I think Mr. Rivera here could be a starting catcher for most teams in this league. Not for mine, but for most teams. I don't know why I'm playing Toledo over him, except for the fact that Toledo's a better defender right now. But if Rivera keeps up at it, he's definitely got a chance to be a catcher of note for us in the near future. But we basically have a bunch of players that are all C plus, and that means if anything serious happens to one of our mega stars, we're gonna be in a world of hurt. So we'll see. Our pitching staff is mostly the same as last year's. Rapidly, we're going to have to make some hard choices about who sticks around and who leaves. With Jimmy Harmon and Amari Eob earning substantial raises in arbitration, the question becomes, how do I pay them while also paying the other people that need to be paid? If there is an interesting side story to this season, it is, what does Gunnar Hendrickson do? And I don't know the answer to that. I do not know the answer to that, but we're going to find out together. But yeah, I cannot afford to pay $15 million to two other starting pitchers, so something's going to have to give. Yeah. I need better players. Wait. Why does salary like shoot up into the stratosphere? Oh, because you're thinking that some of these guys are going to want pretty big arbitration raises. I see. That might be reasonable. I don't know. Where am I still? I'm still probably ranking like, yeah, I'm just over the top half of player payrolls. We'll see what happens as I increase ticket prices. I have a lot of vesting options and bonuses here. All right. Pitching staff most the same as last year's. We've got a couple of additions. Huascar Inoa is giving us a little bit more depth back into the bullpen. And that's it. Everyone else here was literally here last year. We kind of ran it back, and maybe that's a good thing, and maybe it's not such a good thing. But I'll settle for a year of Nate Quinn being healthy. because oh my lord, is Nate Quinn an amazing pitcher, and I want him to be successful, but he just keeps getting hurt. Um, Shout out to Joe Welch. I still think he's going to be overpaid sooner rather than later, but I'm pretty pumped about how he looks so far. Rocking off the bench. Um, Nothing too wild here. Who's that new guy that I got that plays center field? Is it Colt Long? It might be Colt Long, but Jeremy Dorsey, I think, is a sneaky good pickup as far as somebody that can handle himself with a bat anywhere on the infield. I think that's a pretty valuable thing to have on your club. I think that's a sneaky good Rule 5 draft pick. Ramos should be ready here momentarily. Um, so we have that to look forward to. Let's go ahead and play some baseball, shall we? I'm really curious to see how things are going to change with the no DH in the American League. Player designated for assignment. Probably somebody I don't care about. Yeah, Turkeys and Milanis can do their own thing. I don't really care. Like, we'll be successful if Sergio Zapata lets us be. It's really his team, and the rest of us are just living on it. With the downside that I don't think we have the horses to pull us out of this if somebody gets hurt or somebody significantly declines. Mike Taylor adding velocity is only going to help him become more successful. I'm all about that. Um, I'm seeing a lot of guys here who are making marginal improvements, but aren't necessarily getting to a point where they could be major league ready. We look at our prospect pipeline. Do you have anybody that's ready to come out this year? Charlotte. Yes, Josh Batty, who's already on the roster, and Alejandro Rivera is also ready. That's two players in our top 20 prospects that are actually ready for the major leagues this year, with only another couple being potentially ready next year in Sergio Carrillo and Ernesto Rosales. This is going to be an awesome team in 2038, one might imagine, but for now, it's very lackluster. And yeah, man, getting Juan Galvarretti to the majors would be pretty dope. But yeah, so we don't have a lot of talent in the high minors. And I'm not really willing to sacrifice our future just for a short term upgrade. So I think we just hang out this season and whatever happens, happens. Um, because papering over our team's weaknesses without a sustainable solution is just not very practical. It's just not terribly helpful for us to invest money or talent to acquire a player, and then that player either falls short or is then blocking one of our better prospects. I could try to figure if there's any prospects that I think are going to fail and trade them, but Chris Fowler has returned, and I want him to have a chance to succeed. He's a pretty solid center fielder, and I think he offers us quite a bit of flexibility. Amari and Boyd is pretty bad. Reeves is actually playing quite well. Zapata is as well. Dominguez is good. Long is good. It's really just Boyd that's an obvious demotion. I'm gonna go ahead and waive him. and if somebody else claims him, they claim him. But I want to give Fowler, who's a far better player and far more versatile than Boyd. So well done, Bolanos. As predicted, nobody terribly interested in him. One thing I don't do enough of is I probably should be checking the waiver wire a lot more closely than I do. Um, if I were playing every single game, I would be far more likely to do it. Alpha Lede is just going to the minor leagues. I don't want him in the major leagues to begin with this year. Let's check on the waiver wire. That's not what I wanted. I wanted my office. Hmm. I don't think Ritter Wright moves the needle for me. We think we like Chris Boone. Chris Boone is very good defensively, but not good enough for me to really care too much. So at least I'm glad that I checked it. Don't spank a Typhoon. That just strikes me as begging for trouble. I'm noticing we're not scoring a ton of runs this year, which is not encouraging. And again, let's be realistic here. It would take an awful lot for me not to make the postseason. I just think that's where we are as a franchise. It's just not difficult for us to make the postseason. Um, hmm. I remember that no hitter by AJ Burnett because he walked like pretty much everybody. Player development, a few people getting slightly better, a couple getting slightly worse. I'm getting some players putting things together, which is always a good thing to see. But I'm not seeing a ton of players that are taking things to the correct level that they're going to be a valuable contributor. Van Trump might be a busted prospect at this point. He is somebody I'm very interested in trading in an effort to improve maybe my high minors players a bit more. Because here's what I like about him. I like his versatility. I like that he's a two-way player. And I like his potential. But here's the thing. He has been a terrible hitter in the minor leagues. Like, he has shown a complete absence of power. You've been in the minor leagues for long enough that I should be able to see you at least show competence with the bat. And I am not seeing that. You have little bursts where you're like, okay, are you getting hurt? Is that your problem? No, you're just like not improving. So I'm gonna go ahead and trade you. I'm gonna try to offer you for a decent prospect and see what I could get next and what I could get instead. Um, because I think his chances of becoming a useful Major League Baseball player are just so remote right now that it's not worth me hoping. All right, Alejandro Rivera is a pretty damn good first base prospect. He works hard. I think he's currently the winner. Is Mr. Rivera there? But I did see one other player that was green, and I want to look at them. Here it is, Juan Ramuz. I think we take Rivera and maybe see if we get him to throw in somebody else that's a little closer to the major leagues. But nah, I think we'll just go with Rivera. This is kind of a pretty classic challenge trade in that it's a disappointing prospect for somebody who's much farther away. But I'll be honest, I don't think Van Trump is ever going to amount to anything. He's just too late a bloomer to somebody that's been a complete non-factor in the minor leagues. It's possible that he's just not getting playing time for whatever reason, but I think I'm not willing to find out. I think I've given up on him. I'll have to see what happens in the future. I mean, it is a little bit ridiculous. I think it's because he's. I think it's because of him pitching. I think the game is less likely to play him, and so I think having a start every day is enough of being more useful for us. But okay, Chris Thompson has been a giant dumpster fire. This is what I'm afraid of with him. And here's the thing: his skill level is incredibly high, but there's so much variance that it's hard to trust him. His walk rate is higher than it's ever been, which is great. He's going to hit a bunch of home runs, which is good. But he's not getting on base, and that's killing this offense. That is gutting this offense to have him hitting so high in the lineup. But who do I hit there instead? Gunnar Henderson is off to another ice cold start. What could be more typical than Gunnar Henderson struggling to begin the season? I don't know anything about the rest of my team. Jordan Beck has been useless. Despite all that score, we're fourth in runs scored, which is pretty wild. But I think we need a really good on base guy, somebody to pair so that Thomason is not hitting second. Chris Fowler could be that guy. We're so early enough in the season that I'm not going to overreact yet, but I do want to find a solution to my problem. Who's making all these errors? Is it just like something random, or is there more to it than that? Fielding stats. I mean, Jordan Beck has been a god-awful first baseman, which I didn't expect, but no, we're actually fine in errors. We're going to go ahead and play through another month. I don't think we have enough information yet. And plus, Gunnar Henderson always starts off ice cold. I don't know if he needs more reps in spring training or whatever. If he can warm up a little bit, it'll help the team. But I am deeply concerned about Thomason. Deeply concerned. Damn it, Juan Escalera. Yeah, I think we should have abandoned him as a two-way player a lot earlier than we did. I think that's a big piece of his issue. Is I don't like I think he needs to commit to either the mound or to the lineup, but he shouldn't be trying to do both. I mean, Sergio Zapata can just, hit close to another batting title again. That's a thing that he could do. That would help us be a more successful franchise. Escalante is playing out of his mind this year. Which is really interesting. And it's really helping the Yankees be the dominant team. Not that I'm complaining too terribly much, but I wonder if I could get like a real killing for Thomason if I traded him. I need an on-base guy. I don't care what position I play. We need an on-base guy. And I need to tell my manager to stop batting Thomason in the fucking two-hole just because he steals bases. That's not his skill set. His skill set is batting lower in the lineup where he can actually drive the ball with more authority. How was Dusty Hackett considered a pitcher that year? That's funny. That's really funny. He threw like one inning in relief. Yeah, he's a pitcher now. Okay. Some decent players getting better. You love to see it. Florin Cristanel. Okay. Rodolfo Guerrero taking a big step forward would be highly appreciated. Um, because I think he's one of our best offensive prospects. Nice. Jordan Beck would like to stay in Charlotte. I don't want you here anymore. You sucked pretty badly. And the reason I'm keeping you on the major leagues is because I don't know what else to do with you. I'd rather call up Chris Moorman. No, I wouldn't. Jordan Beck is at least getting on base. He's not making any contact. Right. Dominguez is also badly struggling too. I have a lot of players that are not hitting that well this year. Could we have this like an on-base machine, or maybe I have to find somebody that's an on-base machine? Like Thomason has tremendous power. I'm not saying I don't want him in the lineup, but I don't want him hitting second. Because it basically means that there's nobody on base by the time Zapata gets to hit. And that's not good. What if we swapped Gunnar Henderson and Thomason? What if we did that? Let's try it. Hey, I want you to hit second. And then let's see what they do with Thomason if I do that. What I wanted, basically. Is this going to solve any of our issues? Possibly not, but it's something I at least want to explore. I want to explore the possibility of letting Thomason bat lower in the lineup where his home runs will do more damage, and maybe getting Henderson better pitches to hit. Giovanni Rodriguez is actually playing really well this year too. He's gonna make it impossible not to keep him. He's so good. Nate Quinn is getting his brains hammered in, which is not ideal. He's giving up lots of home runs. What if he stopped doing that? How would that be? Probably better. I still have no real secondary scoring. Like Chris Fowler is better than he looks because of his on base skills, which is nice. Jason Dominguez is mid. He's still so expensive too. He's gonna be. I mean, he's not gonna be around for us next season. I'll happily play Fowler at center field. What do we have that's really available? Where can I get some quality talent? I'd love to get me. There's some interesting players on the waiver wire. Jeff Spears. What makes him interesting? He's just a good defensive shortstop. That's it. Mm. Let me check the trade block real fast and see if there's anything here that's exciting. Curtis Feed is way too fucking expensive for me to acquire him. That's too much money. I'm sorry. Batting ratings. Let's sort by contact. I know Juan Brito doesn't have much in the way of power, but I think his on-base skills will make him a pretty helpful player. I'll do it straight up. I'll give you Jordan Beck for him. do a challenge trade. I will happily give you Juan Morales is very far away from the major leagues, and he's been awful in the minors, so I will happily trade him. Could I get an even better prospect? Could I get David Rangel? Like, that's ridiculous, right? What would it take to add David Rangel? Nothing. Okay. What if we just got stupid for a second here? What if I gave you Casey Choate for David Rangel? And if I added in David Gaona and Jesus Archuleta. Okay. I'm offering you my 3 best prospects, and you're not even blinking, which is probably very smart on your part. Because he looks like a really good player. I would not mind acquiring Jared Cross if I could get him, but I have a feeling you probably would tell me no. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not giving up an elite prospect for Jared Cross. That's where I draw the line. Yeah, I'm not giving you Randy Ortolani. I'm not trading anything big for Randy Ortolani. Even though I think he's a pretty solid player in a lot of ways. This is fine. And where's my new first baseman? Plus, he can handle himself at second base, too. So he's definitely got a little bit of upside to him. We can try him out. And then if he turns out to have played particularly well, we can maybe make some allowances to bring him back potentially. Maybe. I just need to see you hit. I mean, I guess you're actually a pretty decent catcher. Like, you're an all defense backup. I'm not going to get married to you when I could have somebody who's actually got a pretty good stick on him, too. So we're going to make that change as well. Dusty Hackett's pretty solid, potentially, but he just doesn't have much of a bat. Chris the Mormon here is fine, but not exciting. I'm going to trade Mormon and see if I can't add in one more interesting offensive prospect. I think he's another guy that's kind of stalled out in my system, and I just don't see a path to him playing regularly. I just don't see it. I don't need every catcher in the minor leagues. Andy Holzer isn't bad, but I'm not convinced he's all that special either. Oh no, not one of these players. If I could get Hofford and Holzer, I would make this trade. I don't know that I'd be able to get them both, though. And I said post-human. If I ask for Hofford and Holzer, how does that grab you? Getting 2 prospects to offset the risk of losing 1. Really? You like him that much, huh? I'm getting three reasonably good prospects for a guy who's mid. I don't know why I'm acting like I'm too good for this shit. You don't really have any better act. Yeah, I'll happily take this trade. I'm gonna go for some quantity over some quality here. I think Mormon might end up being the best of the bunch, but not for a while, and certainly not for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep a close eye on you. Anybody else that I really just don't believe in, or I think I could turn into a more interesting player? Um, yeah, Kristinell isn't doing it for me either. I love to try to swap you for. I'll even look at regulars. I'm gonna look at outfielders. I want to look at somebody who can be a genuine on base machine and make the rest of the lineup function better. I am not getting what I'm asking for here, am I? I'm not going to trade just to make a trade. That seems short sighted, so no thank you. All right, let's go ahead and. I like Harmon better than Eob, but Harmon also doesn't have the stamina that Eob does. So, I don't know. I just think there's a very, very low probability that Gunnar Henderson opts out. I could use the payroll flexibility, but I'll be honest with you. I think our biggest issue is we just have too many players that are wanting too much money in too quick a time. That's not ideal. Don't do that game. Dusty Hackett, welcome to the major. Oh, you fucker, you just got hurt. Or you just send him to double A. You send him to double A. I don't really have another shortstop that I trust to play in the major leagues other than you, unless we try out Rosales. You know what? Rosales is a good enough player that I think, and he's having an okay season. I think we can give him a shot in the major leagues. So we'll take a look at that. It's just for a couple of weeks. Hopefully, Jacques recovers and is his old self, and then we can address the world from there. And I realize I have no room to talk about having payroll problems when I'm getting one of the best players in the major leagues for pennies on the dollar. I completely accept that that is a thing. Yeah, I'm not gonna have a top six season anytime soon. Everyone can get a new contract. We could do with a little bit more, but none. I don't have anyone in the major leagues whose contract is up. Antoine Anderson is an exceptional coach. I would like you to stay, please. And then who else is like no thanks fam? Alejandro Nunez is amazing. Let's keep him around. The problem is that everybody here hates people that are controlling. So Carlos Lee is just making everybody grumpy. So I think letting him walk is going to happen next year. I'm not sure if he hasn't left by on his own accord, thinking, "What if I could run my own team?" But maybe he's content. Well, if he is, too fucking bad, because he's departing. For the longest time in my brain, I would always get Carlos Lee and Carlos Beltran confused. I mean, they were both outfielders for the Kansas City Royals at the same time, But then obviously, like one of them is a Hall of Famer, and the other one is manifestly not. I'm not even gonna put a reliever on the IL for a week. That's just not sensible. That is just not a sensible decision. I'm not really a factory for anything. It's not really anything that I do better than other teams. I mean, I guess I have better relievers than most other teams. I think I'm relatively good developing relievers, but it's hardly anything to hang their hat on. I need to specialize in something and make lots of them and then trade them for other things that I don't currently have. If Escalante cools off, I think we're going to be able to push much harder at the expense of the Yankees. But it's certainly not a guarantee. Ronald Acuna Jr. still having pretty great seasons this late in his career. I'm all for it. Chris Perry got a little bit better. Jamal King got a little bit better. Jason Dominguez is getting worse. I mean, I was already going to get rid of him, but now it's becoming a lot more obvious. Archuleta just lost a little bit of his upside, which makes me sad. Okay. Jamie Harmon is the best pitcher in the American League in June. That's pretty exciting. Okay. Do we get rid of Dominguez now? I apologize. The next door neighbor's dog decided this would be the ideal time to deploy his Borg weapon. Huh. I'm gonna try it. Because if he's losing defensive capabilities, then I'd rather play Chris Fowler anyway in center field. I will shop for any regular or prospect. I definitely want to look at offense. That's definitely something I want to do, but I'm not that picky. Wow, there's quite a few mediocre hitters being offered up. Mm, mm-mm. Mm. I said I wanted a good on base guy, but I don't know that that's what I'm looking for. I think Mr. Luca here would be a pretty solid choice as somebody to back up the existing outfield staff. He is La Man. Um. All right, so Mr. Lemon there is currently the winner. Chad Star, what a name. I'm looking for a very particular skill set. Luis Delgado actually could be pretty solid. I wish he could play a position other than first base, but he looks like a really reliable hitter that's going to get on base pretty regularly. Although he's never done that in the major leagues. So maybe I'm being silly. Maybe I should just go with my gut and take the guy that I thought would be the best. If you had any power whatsoever, I would strongly consider you. But I can't have somebody who has no power. I think that's a pretty silly. Because Jose Rodriguez is too much of a risk. He's got big old power, but if he's not able to put the ball into play regularly, then that's not going to help. I'm just going to grab that one guy, Mr. Lemon here. I think he's a decent choice. Yeah, Dominguez is very clearly losing a lot of his skills, and if we just need to shift Fowler into right field, then maybe play Tim Reeves or Colt Long, I think that's fine. I think that makes us a better squad. Um, Sergio Carrillo is just right there. He's right there on the cusp of being a potential major contributor for the Charlotte Silverwolves. But he's going to have to make some kind of progress. And right now, his progress has been very, very slow. Because I think he could be the next great starting pitcher for us. Kelfogor's already been around for 6 years already. How is that possible? No, seriously, how is that possible? Hmm. Oh, and I'm not going to let him go for nothing. So I guess the question becomes: is Rodolfo Guerrero what we're looking for, or does Rodolfo Guerrero a trade chit? And here's the thing: he's basically a first baseman. I wouldn't let him play second base. And he's a guy whose calling card is supposed to be his power, and he hasn't hit for power yet in the minor leagues. I know he's not getting like hundreds and hundreds of at bats, but he definitely seems like he's struggling pretty badly to make the most of his power. And he's already kind of a marginal prospect anyway. I think trading him might be a bit shocking, but I think it's the right call. If I can get a quality player for him, I have to trade him. Chris Fournier, I like him quite a lot actually. He'd offer a ton of offensive firepower to this lineup. Then again, Kellen Bulkley could too, and he's even younger. Um, I think Bulkley is the current winner, but I'm gonna keep looking. I mean, Luis Romero would put an end to my first base issues, but he's also kind of dumb. He's kind of real dumb. No, thank you. Mike Schroeder's too expensive. I'm not gonna add salary. Brady Harris is a really good player. I'm just not willing to spend that much for an A+ center fielder. I think that one guy I was looking at earlier is going to be my choice. Oh, the Rangers are eager to get rid of some folks. Ron Foster is a reasonably solid first baseman. I could get behind that. But I think that outfielder is just so good. It's not Fournier. I like Fournier a lot, but that's not who I was talking about. I mean Kellen Buckley. I think he just offers us a genuine middle of the lineup presence that is very, very difficult to overlook. So I think we're going to make this happen. I'd love to try to get somebody else included in the deal, but even if I can't, I'm more than happy to make this deal. Jorge Ventura would be decent, but not terribly thrilling. Do you have any first basemen of interest in the major leagues? Question mark. There is Sincere Foggy. It's a pretty solid name. No, I think this is the right call. I think we just trade for Bulkley and and take the win. So who goes to the minors for Bulkley? I mean, are you seriously starting Lemon at center? No, you're not starting him at center yet. I think Reeves can go to the minors and we can call up Bulkley. I genuinely think he's a great addition to the club. He's already the second best power hitter on the team. And he has enough other offensive and defensive tools that I think he's got the chance to be a really good player for a long time to come. Let's have our brilliant manager do manager things here. Fowler plays center, which is what I expected. All right. Brito is still an issue, but I think he's much less of an issue. And I think the lineup has really started to kick it into gear. Um, how do we fix first base? I mean, Guerrero could have potentially fixed first base, but I just don't think that's the right answer. Tim Reeves is a captain, but he cannot play the field very well. I don't want to fuck with the chemistry too much, but I think turning Tim Reeves into a more useful first baseman helps us out a lot. Or look only at first baseman, please. Anybody green? Mike Mitchell is green. Mike Mitchell is a pretty okay player. I wouldn't mind letting him season a little bit in the minor leagues, but he actually has a track record of hitting in the minor leagues, which is something I haven't seen recently. Mike Mitchell definitely is on my radar. I don't like guys that have lots of power but don't hit for a lot of contact. I'm concerned about their sustainability. Kurt Matthews is also a really good choice, too. He is kind of dumb, though. Let's keep checking. John Joyce is reasonably good, and he's a hard worker. John Joyce isn't a terrible choice. What do Mr. Joyce's stats look like? He has struggled a little bit in the major leagues, which I guess is the one thing that gives me some more pause. But he's such a smart guy that works so hard. I think in a world where I couldn't get somebody even potentially better, like a Kurt Matthews. I don't know that Kurt Matthews is better, to be honest with you. Who's the other guy I was looking at? There's another guy that I got really excited about that wasn't Kurt Matthews. Or John Joyce. Mike Mitchell. I think Mike Mitchell is farther away from the major leagues, but I like how young he is. And I think he's going to be my choice. Would you throw in somebody else as well? Alexander Albertus wouldn't be a terrible choice. All right. I'm going to trade for Mitchell. I'm going to trade for Albertus. Where's Albertus? Where's my guy Albertus? Yeah, Tim Reeves has been a really good has been a really good clubhouse guy, but I think we're better off with Mitchell and Albertus, comparatively speaking. Mitchell, you can go to the minor leagues. I wonder if Albertus would take a demotion. He probably won't. No, he does. Okay. That's what I want. I want him to be available in case Brito doesn't work out, but I think for this season, Brito is the better choice. So we'll see what happens there. All right. I definitely want to keep an eye on Guerrero, and I really want to keep an eye on Tim Reeves. I want to see if Reeves is actually capable of breaking out and being a top contributor for a baseball team. That's a lot of trades I just made, but I think they're trades that make us a better team. I think. I needed that. I needed more depth. And I think I've certainly acquired a lot more depth than I had even just a few minutes ago. Ernie Jarvis makes the All Star team. Huascar Inoa makes it, which is kind of funny. Giovanni Rodriguez, Andy Giacoletto, Sergio Zapata. Nothing too terribly surprising. Escalante is a really good player. Zapata only hitting 27 home runs would be kind of a downer, if I'm honest with you. Just a little bit. What about the All-Star Prospects games? Any cool people make it there? Guerrero made it. He would have been someone from my team, but Archuleta did still make it for Charlotte. For Charlotte. I'm really curious to see if Rodolfo Guerrero does develop. And see if maybe the problem was me? Or what the deal is with Van Trump. Let's sim up to the draft. What do I want in this draft? I think we could really use. We could use anything, really. Really, truly. I think it's wide open as far as what we need to acquire in order to be a consistently great. Damn, he won the MVP. Good for him, Giovanni. Nice. What do I even want? Like, I don't know what I want in an ideal world. I think I'm just content with whatever falls to me. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm not even gonna bother speculating. Okay. So we've got four top quality prospects, three of whom are pitchers. Dave Hall already being fragile when he's only 18 is a really big warning sign to me. Let's look at Ishmael Loera. Mr. Loera is a very talented hitter that works hard and is highly adaptable. He's also a terrible outfielder. Do I care? I don't think I do. I think he's too well rounded in offensive talent. I will look at the pictures though. Joe Dahlberg throws really hard, has three solid pitches, is a lefty, which makes his throwing hard even more impressive, and keeps the ball down pretty effectively. He's a lot of money, but he's also an excellent choice. And what about Billy Myers here? Uh, Character is off the charts. A nice mix of pitches, good control. He will get hit, but he'll also strike quite a few people out. don't. This is hard. This is really hard. I don't know what the correct answer is. My brain is telling me Billy Myers. A high personality kid with a good mix of pitches and a pretty decent heater for a lefty who's, by the way, also 6'8". This is what my head is telling me. My heart is telling me Dahlberg because he throws so hard as a left-handed pitcher that he's going to be a hell of a guy to hit. So we've got the brain, we've got the head, we got the heart, and then we have, I don't know, my joie de vivre, my soul, really wants you to pick up Loera. I don't have to be that safe, so I think I'm going to reluctantly drop Myers from consideration. The only way I'm going to get exciting players is to take a risk. And I think Dahlberg is a risk. But I think if he pays out, he's going to be more than worth it. So I think we take Dahlberg. I will also shortlist him. Meet his demand. I will shortlist Loera, but I doubt Loera is around by the time I get to pick again. Yeah, he's already got. Give me Myers. I guess it's true what they say. If you really love something, let them go. Because then they'll come back to you. That is a really good 1-2 punch in terms of pitching. I'm thoroughly jazzed. Okay. I want to come home with a hitter. At least one, but possibly several. Kevin Lane is a pretty good corner outfielder who wants a shit ton of money. That's his problem. I'm not going to pay him like $20 million. That's ridiculous. I have better things to spend my money on. Let me just look at hitters right now. Davian Padillo is a really solid infielder who might stay in the infield and has a really good combination of skills. I am concerned about his batting eye. I'm worried that he's gonna have some issues. But he's a well-rounded defender. He can play all the outfield infield positions. Yes, I think 1,000 times yes. Welcome to the Charlotte Silver Wolves, and you're going to be shortlisted. Next. I would like one more position player if I can find a good one. I don't know, man. Your only plus plus skill is power, and if you don't hit for power, you're gonna be a bit of an issue. Just do a quick peek here. I think we take Zawadzki. I like his defense, and I think even though he's also somewhat flawed as a hitter, I think Mr. Zawadzki here could make a fine addition to our club. And wait for it, we're going to shortlist him too. Done. Alright, now let's look at all players, and let's just try to get the best player we possibly can. Jesus Mendoz is pretty solid. He is a bit greedy, but he's got a nice mix of pitches for a reliever, and he's got good stuff in control, and he keeps the ball down. He's not thrilling, but I do think he is the right choice, so I think we can go ahead and acquire him and pay him the slot. Alright. Jorge Perales is a perfectly cromulent. You knew it was going to be coming here. outfielder whose only issue is he can't play the outfield very well. I think that's probably okay, and I think we can hand him 700 grand to be a Charlotte Silver Wolf. Submit offer, and then we will continue onwards. All right, we're starting to see the draft thin out some. We're starting to see that a lot of the best players are already gone. JJ Cook is not a catcher, but what he is actually a pretty good hitter. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab Cook. Let's let him cook, if you will. If you won't, tough shit, do it anyway. Let me think about this one for a second. Lefty with pretty good velocity, really good stuff. Russ's picture is a little bit meh. I think it's worth taking him and seeing what he can develop as he ages and baseballs more in his career. I will drop Chris Balia here, mostly because he's a competent defensive catcher, and you can never have too many of those. At no point can you ever have too many catchers in your system that are good defensively. It's not a possible thing. Skylar Wright keeps slipping. I'm not quite sure why, apart from him being dumb as a post. But I'll take a little bit of stupid if it doesn't cost me any money and has a lot of upside. So we'll try it. Win Noseworthy. What an incredible name. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. We have to draft him. Chris McDonald might end up being like a 7-time MVP, but if you can take a man named Win Noseworthy, I think you have to. I think that's in the Major League bylaws somewhere. Jim Orlovsky, you suck. There's a reason why nobody else wanted you. I can draft Dan Roby. I can go for that. Like, I don't have anything better to spend this year's money on at the moment, so I think investing in some players that want a bonus a little bit lower in the draft is pretty helpful. Jeff here is a pretty good reliever. And he's obvious. I wonder how he got into Vanderbilt if he's stupid. Either way, I am more than willing to bring him on board. Done. I mean, I guess the essentials for him is home runs and nothing else. I'm willing to draft him, but I have next to zero likelihood that he'll ever turn out to be a useful player. Yeah, we're already at the part of the draft where I think I might just let my scouting. I might let Carlos Lee pick the rest of my draft. Not Carlos Lee. My scouting directors, who I meant to say. I feel pretty good about that draft class. It's maybe not world shaking, but I got two really good pitchers in the same draft class. And if we can develop them appropriately, I think we'll have a lot of success. Padillo, Zawadzki are pretty solid. Mendoz is a decent reliever. We've got some pieces here. We've got some really good pieces. I feel like this is a good part of the season to think about who we might want to sign to an extension. Or who's gonna play center field while Fowler is injured? He's only out for a couple of weeks, but do I have another center fielder that I can trust? Mike Mitchell, I do not trust in center field. Chris Tunnell, I trust marginally more. Let's do a real quick check here. Minor leagues. Center field defense. Oh, here you go. Fielding at CF. I guess, Steve, you get a chance to come back and join us because I need somebody else to play center field. Damn. We really need to try to get ourselves another player or two that we can trust in center field. Maybe. Possibly. I mean, that's him done for us. Like, he's not coming back. Who's next man up pitching wise? I think it's Milani's here. I think Milani's is the answer. Because I don't want to rush I don't want to rush Carrillo if Carrillo still got some growing to do. So I think a Milani's is a relatively finished product and we can have him pitch in the majors. We should have put together a nifty little streak here of like 5 or 10 wins in a row to try to get a. Oh my god, game. You can stop any fucking second now. That hurts in a lot of ways, both in the literal definition of that is injury causing, but also that is very yikes. Rosales is a more competent hitter, so I think Rosales is the guy who takes over for the rest of the year, but that is really rough. Damn it. He might be back by the time the postseason starts, but I'm not too convinced of that. I mean, I don't really care that Brito got hurt. Like, that is the least interesting thing. Why is Zach Stever being. Ah, fair enough. Do I trade for a shortstop? Is that a thing I'm going to consider? Maybe. Um, I'm not giving up very much, but Mladzinski sucks. For a decent center fielder or a decent shortstop, I would make a trade with you. I'm not gonna be able to get Burdett off of you. You're just gonna refuse, and rightfully so. Bryce Terang wouldn't be a bad choice if it wasn't so damn expensive. Okay, you want to stay with Milwaukee? That's fine. Let's check the trade block just for the lulls and see who might be available for us to acquire. Why is Evan? Oh, hell no! I don't want any piece of that. Not if he's that injury prone. Um, I mean, understanding that everybody has weaknesses, it's still a little disappointing how hard it is to find some more depth. Michael Mullinax of Mullinax Ford. I think center field isn't the position that I just lost for most of the season. If shortstop is. I'm gonna get a little bit pickier with this filter. I want it to at least be 60. Because I'm getting a shortstop. I want somebody who's really good defensively that can also potentially um show me something offensively. Like I'd love to get Marcelo Mayer. I think he'd be a fantastic addition to this club, but I'm pretty sure that the Nationals won't part with him. I could casually pick up Bobby Witt Jr. No. And remember, I'm not looking for somebody to play every day. I'm looking for somebody to play for the rest of the season. What would Marcelo Mayer cost me? Something I'm not willing to give up. Um. Yeah, no, I'm not going to give up any of these guys for a rental. I'm eating his salary. That should be enough for you to want to give him to me. You're out for almost as long as he is. My old friend Tristan McGillicuddy's available. I bet this wouldn't cost you very. I bet he wouldn't cost you very much. Yeah, I can work with this. Jonathan Elmore is already a decent center fielder. If he could start hitting, then he's got a real chance to make it. But I do also have Dusty Hackett, who is basically like McGillicuddy with a little bit less offense. Maybe it's not worth it. Maybe Hackett is the answer I'm looking for as far as depth at center for shortstop. Possibly. Who the fuck are you leading off with now? Juan Brito. I need a first baseman. I need to stop getting distracted by bullshit and actually have a competent first baseman that can actually hit baseballs every now and again. Why is this so hard for me to find a first baseman, friends? Why? I don't know. We're getting Chris Fowler back, which is amazing news. Love that for us. I'm gonna let Lamont here go back to the minors and work on his craft a bit more. Fowler gets his starting spot back. I've got to replace Brito with literally anybody. I was gonna say Mike Mitchell, but Mike Mitchell isn't ready. I'd rather play fucking Albertus than Brito. Let's see if Brito the Burrito here will accept a demotion if he's given one. And then we're gonna call up Albertus. That's too much for Mead, and I'm also not convinced that Mead is all that good a first baseman. So I think I'm gonna have to reject this one. All right, who is on the move? Evan Carter would be lovely, but he's one of them that will just refuse to be traded. I gotta be real with you. I'm not really seeing anything here that excites me all that much. Matt Shaw is okay, but he's not so okay that I'm gonna give up anything for him. Travis the Banana. First overall draft pick of the Cleveland Guardians. Yoshinari Hoshino. Mm. I would genuinely like to add Marcelo Mayer, but they're gonna want a lot of shit for him. I'm just not prepared to pay that. We would also upgrade his second base with Thomas and over to shortstop. So far, I'm not seeing anything that excites me. The paints are looking to deal, are they? Yeah, it's like I don't see anything that I want, and I'm not willing to give up any kind of prospect to get anything that interesting. So thanks but no thanks, guys. Ooh, Mike Topper got traded. Not Mike Topper. I think Avi Kuntlin is the one that I was concerned about. What is Mike Topper? Did she used to be my catcher? Are you even on my radar? Oh, because you were taken in 2026. That's right. Because I remember adding a bunch of extra players in that list because I was curious to see how people would do, but that's not what happened here. Okay. Ernesto Rosales is becoming a better second baseman. That's interesting. I have an excessive number of mid-tier catchers. I don't know why I'm collecting them to the extent that I am, but I should probably stop. Okay. I think once again I'm very clearly the number two team in the American League, and even equally clearly I'm not going to end up getting a bye. Just gonna be a little gross. How's Burrito feeling? How's Burrito the Burrito? He doesn't want to be demoted. Well, how about I cut you instead? It makes me feel silly that I traded for him and then got rid of him so quickly, but he really wasn't doing much for the club, so. Damn it, Bulkley. How dare you? Bobby Wick Jr. It's 3 fucking home runs. What a loser. A great player would have hit 6 home runs. Because each one of his home runs would count for 2. That's good baseball right there. I did not know that the diameter of the pitching mound was 18 feet. You learn something new every day, I guess. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Getting Giacoletto back early would make me so happy. So incredibly happy. I'm not saying the Rosales is a bad player, but I'm saying that I really need my best players playing their best if we're going to have a big impact here down the stretch. Or we could just get roughed up by the White Sox. That's fine too. Any serious about the Yankees are gonna like fucking sweep them or something. That would be amazing. Hell, I just got what I wanted. I should just ask for that earlier. Losing Henderson, whenever we lose him, whether it's this year or next year, or whether it's next season or the season after, is just gonna be a fascinating case study. Because I don't know how I'm gonna spend that money. And I don't want to get caught into the loop of, wow, thanks, game. Oh, also, I can't even have him back because he's on the 60-day IL. You broke your fucking thumb. Lamont can come back, I suppose. I have too many catchers. I have an excessive number of catchers that are all roughly the same talent level. I should probably do something about that. Like, shoot them. No, not shoot them. Ramos missing 1 week of playing time causes me zero concern. What causes me concern is us getting that bye week. If I can get that bye week, then a lot of things get a whole lot better for us. I desperately need that bye week. Dusty Hackett is becoming marginally of marginal value. Casey Choda's getting worse, which doesn't make me happy. Need that bye week. If I can get that bye week, then Chocolate will be healthy and ready to go. But if I can't get that bye week, then we'll be Chocolatto-less for the first round. Come on, guys. I want you to baseball as hard as you've ever baseballed before. I want us to get that first round bye. It is critical to our success as a franchise this season to have the extra couple of days for people to get healthy. All right, it comes down to one game. If they win and I lose, how does that work out for us? Win and I'm in. We finished at 500 exactly. I don't actually know what the tiebreaker would be at that point. Let's just hope I win the game and it's not an issue. There we go. All right. Now I can simulate the rest of the first round. And I'm going to get Chocolatto back for the Division Series. That game 99, that 99th win, may be one of the most important in the history of the Charlotte Silverwolves. It's just that important. Edgar Velasco, I'm gonna leave you off the postseason roster so I can put Giacoletto on, obviously, but also because I kind of want to keep Dorsey on the club, and I really want to give Rosales a chance to play a little bit more this season. I feel like a giant weight just came off my shoulders with Giacoletto being back. I mean, he's one of the best shortstops in the major leagues. It's certainly not like it hurts us. And we're facing the Yankees in the postseason. All right, let's go. Damn. I didn't think Jameer Jefferson would retire because Jameer Jefferson actually had a decent chance to take over at third base. But you know what? You got to do yourself. Do what makes you happy, my dude. A dramatic 1-0 series lead. Very appreciated. What a fucking season for Escalante. Like, holy shit. Like, he was a really good player before, last year as a rookie, but now he's just, like, transcendent. That's terrifying. We're up 2-0. Harmon, can you lock it down? You cannot. Instead, you got your brains hammered in. Yikes. I award you one yike. Didn't give up any home runs. That's good. You just, gave up 5 runs instead. And then Varner had a rough couple of innings, but that's all right. We're still in a decent position here. Unless Chris Perry also gets lit up. All right, big man Ernie Jarvis. Can you do it again? Close my eyes so I don't have to look at it. Yeah, you can. Ernie Jarvis is such a clutch pitcher. Like, it's not even funny at this point. He's so good. Whenever I need a big performance in the postseason, Ernie Jarvis is like, I got you, fam. It's all good. What a guy. What a human being. We're now facing the Chicago White Sox. Interesting. Well, we're off to a bad start. Don't love that for us. Game? What are we doing here? Oh, it's a monthly changeover, so it's got to save. That's fair. The thing is, my big advantage is my pitching staff. If I get melted down like I did in game one, this is going to be a short series and not for a good reason either. So we'll see. There we go. Jamie Harmon stabilized things nicely. That's good to hear. Ernie Jarvis gets lit up. That's terrifying. If they have solved the puzzle that is Ernie Jarvis, we're in a lot of trouble. I don't care at all. Wow. Come on, guys. Jesus. Like, our pitching was supposed to be our big calling card, and we just got outpitched. Like, if you can beat Ernie Jarvis, you deserve your postseason success. Damn. I mean, they did have the best offense in the American League, but still, I thought we'd put up a better offensive showing. Given that we scored more than 3 runs exactly one time. 3 runs, sorry. Which was in game 2, the only game that we actually won. Damn. That's disappointing. It's not heartbreaking or anything. I mean, we've won plenty of World Series at this point. Um, it's disappointing to be sure, but it's not like heartbreaking or anything like that. Like I'm not gonna cry myself to sleep just because the White Sox are going to the World Series and not me. Thanks, Fowler. Really appreciate that. What a good look for us. Um, I don't see any reason that Escalante doesn't win MVP. If I somehow get MVP, I would be utterly shocked. He is Brendan perfect. I mean, that's a bit on the nose, I guess. What a good World Series, even if the Marlins did win. Um, sorry, I haven't forgiven them for 1997 yet, and I never will. So fuck the Marlins. We will definitely break down this season because I am fascinated with how well we did. And I think we made some really smart decisions in the middle of the season. I think we are in a much better spot than we were previously. I am proud. Gunnar Henderson wants to come back. No surprise. There, my manager has retired. We need a new manager. All right. So, Mike Serbelik is the obvious choice. He's got a good relationship with most of the club. I think just promoting him is the smartest call here. So let's just do that. And then who takes over as bench coach? If Carlos Vidal can build up his relationships a bit, it'll be him. I think Scott Austin is a pretty good choice to become my new bench coach. And then I need a new third base coach. Ideally, somebody that is easygoing. You know what, Kerry Novitz, you're in. I'm just going to do this really quickly because it's only going to take me a couple seconds. There we go. Done. Now, Sir Bleak wants his own hitting coach and is pretty picky about his things, but I think he's earned a shot. I think he's earned a shot to be the manager and see if he can build upon the immortal Mitch Simons' contributions. All right, let's look at how the season went. Do not care about shortstops only. I care about all of the basing and balling. Sergio Zapata, he just keeps getting away with it. He keeps getting away with being one of the best players in the league. At this point, I've run out of things to say about him. He's just that bloody good. Giacoletto's only crime this season was being hurt. Other than that, he remains one of the best players on the team, a worthy competitor, and just a great baseball player. Giovanni Rodriguez, boy, is he forcing the issue in a pretty dramatic way. He's been so good now for 3 consecutive seasons that I don't know that there's a reason not to bring him back, other than money. Thomason definitely improved, and he's another guy that's probably going to end up getting a great big paycheck, so we're going to think about that one pretty hard. Gunnar Henderson is not what he used to be, but this is the last season we have him to kick around. We will definitely be letting him go. 100%. I am not bringing him back unless you only take a severe pay cut. Chris Fowler, when he was healthy, was actually a pretty valuable player. I know he's not an elite center fielder, but he's good enough. Uh, Kellen Bulkley was a nice little find. He just needs more reps at the major league level, but putting up this kind of year is a pretty great start. I'm pretty happy about that. And even Alexander Albertus, who barely played, just like showed up and was like, "Oh yeah, I can get on base for you. Why didn't you ask me to?" He might end up being a starting first baseman next year. All in all, other than Ernesto Rosales, everybody contributed, and we got some really good playing by really good performances by most of our lineup. Even if the lineup wasn't as great as it's been top level, it's been pretty good. The pitching staff, Ernie Jarvis has to get a Cy Young at some point. I know it's going to be hard for him because he doesn't get up the big win totals, but it's got to happen eventually. We got a full season out of Nate Quinn, and he struggled. He got hit hard in the home run game. This has to be fixed if we're going to be a successful team next year. Figure it out, shithead. But a really good year out of Josh Batty, who didn't start but was a fantastic reliever. And I think we've got one of the best pitching staffs in the league. I don't know what's going to take for Ernie Jarvis to ever get a Cy Young vote, but it might just never happen because that's just how this game is. If you're not dominating completely, you generally don't get consideration for a Cy Young. So, anyways, thank you very much for watching. As always, your viewership is very appreciated. And until next time, this has been F Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.